All right, before we get to the Dolphins here, that's what everybody wants to talk about is the Dolphins, right? But before we get to the Dolphins here, I got to tell you about one of our newest sponsors, Broward Meat and Fish. That's right. Grand opening was last weekend, Broward Meat and Fish Plus in Margate. They got several locations, including one right here by me in Pembroke Pines. Go to browardmeatandfish.com. You can find the location nearest to you. And when I say Broward Meat and Fish, like, okay, I'm going in. There's going to be meat. There's going to be fish. Yes, of course there's going to be meat. Of course there's going to be fish. But I'm talking, this is an entire supermarket, all right? If you love good food, stop what you're doing, all right? Listen to your boy. We all want the best quality when we're prepping our next meal. Broward Meat and Fish. This is your one-stop shop. Meat, seafood, produce, full complete selection of groceries, frozen foods, freshly prepared hot food. They'll make your boar's head subs. You know what I'm talking about. Wine and cheese is so much more. Broward Meat and Fish, like I said, newest location, Margate. I was there with my man Juan, Johnny Cuba there for the grand opening. Lots of giveaways, all kinds of food and samples and music. Look, when you go inside, I was wowed by the I've never seen a selection of meat and fish like I saw at Broward Meat and Fish that afternoon. And you got the butchers and fishmongers at the full-service meat and seafood counter. They're going to prepare your selection exactly the way you want it. You're going to get the perfect cut and the freshest flavor and quality. They've specialized in serving the Caribbean and Latin community in South Florida for over 30 years. The shelves are stocked with all kinds of international brands that are going to remind you of where you came from, all right? You're getting the flavor you'll love at Broward Meat and Fish. BrowardMeatandFish.com. Find the location nearest to you. So let's get to some Dolphin stuff here, all right? I mean, let's get to some Dolphin stuff. This, again, second straight year. All of a sudden, like I said, last year, I remember I was on the air doing the show. I was doing ZASLOW Show. And you get this report all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Adam Schefter, the Dolphins and Jets are in talks to acquire Tyreek Hill. 90 minutes later, still on the show, Dolphins have acquired Tyreek Hill. Same thing yesterday afternoon. All of a sudden, you get the tweet from Adam Schefter. Well, first you had the Dolphins are in serious negotiations with the Rams to trade for Jalen Ramsey. And then, boom, Jalen Ramsey on the Dolphins. And it's funny because I said to my friend the night before, or the afternoon before, you know, the Dolphins have created so much cap space. And I said to him, I go, and then, of course, you also had the news that the Dolphins have picked up the fifth-year option, or they've informed Tua that they're picking up his fifth-year option. So he's under contract for 2 more years at essentially a bargain basement price, considering what great quarterbacks are paid today. I don't want to have a debate whether or not Tua is a great quarterback. That's not what we're doing right now. But here's the thing. So I said to my buddy, the window is right now. This is the window for the Dolphins to win, because if you're getting elite level quarterback play, which the Dolphins are, if you're getting elite level quarterback play at this price, you have to take advantage. Your window to win is right now, because when you eventually have to pay that quarterback all the money, you're not going to be able to have as many pieces around him. So while Tua is making the amount of money he is now over the next 2 years, this is why it was a no-brainer picking up the fifth-year option, all right? There's a risk-reward there, but the reward is much greater than the risk. The window is these next 2 years. You got to go for it. They created all that cap space over the weekend as well by restructuring some deals. And I told my buddy, I think they're going to be major players in free agency. So they're still going to be major players in free agency. You're listening to this right now. You're listening in the future. I'm in the past. Free agency has already started. That's right. Well, this is the legal tampering these next 48 hours. It officially starts on Wednesday, but you understand what's going on. You're in the future. Maybe the Dolphins have already signed Bobby Wagner. I don't know. I can't tell the future. I'm in the past right now. But the Dolphins have created all this cap space, and they're going to go for it, especially because they don't have a first-round pick this year. They're going to go for it right now. You got a general manager, and wow, I mean, we've come pretty far, because and not just me, I mean, most talk show hosts, I was very hard on Chris Grier. But I don't think I was wrong about Chris Grier. I think you're allowed to do a poor job, and then you're allowed to get better, which I think Mike McDaniel, I like Mike McDaniel, but there were some things he didn't do well. Why does he have to be a finished product in his first year? Tua Tagovailoa. Why does he have to be a finished product in his first 2 years? I think Mike McDaniel obviously helped in year number 3, but I'm sure he's also gotten better. And the same thing with Chris Grier. When he's taken over as full-time general manager, you make some bad moves, he's allowed to get better at his job as well. I mean, it shouldn't be so hard to understand. So I don't take back the things that I've said about Chris Grier. I just think he's allowed to get better. I think he's allowed to improve. I think you made some bad moves. You still look back at that draft with the 3 first-round picks with Tua. Now, all that matters is Tua, but Austin Jackson, Noah Igbenogany, I mean, that's a terrible draft there. That's a terrible first round. You hit on 1 out of 3. And the one we all know has his issues as well. I just think he's done an incredible job this last, year plus, coming back from a place where I didn't think he was very good. So I don't think I was wrong about anything. He was not good, and now he is good. Incredible job by Chris Grier, who is not afraid to swing big. And the owner is not afraid to spend money. And so that's also an important part of what Chris Grier is doing right now. Chris Grier knows that. I mean, he knows the owner's not afraid to spend, but he also knows, all right, we're in a situation where the owner is old. Who knows how much longer he's going to be doing this? Let's take advantage. He's willing to spend money, and now he's probably willing to spend even more money than he was 15 years ago for 2 reasons. Number 1, he's never won anything in these 15 years that he's owned the team. And number 2, he's old. So Chris Grier, I don't know if that's taking advantage, but it's taking advantage of the circumstances. Yeah, I got an owner who's desperate. He's going to be willing to spend. And I said to my buddy, I think they're going to try and make a play for Jalen Ramsey. And then the next day, boom, they trade for Jalen Ramsey. Because it's not just about replacing Byron Jones, right? It's also about, Xavier Howard didn't have a great year last year. What if Xavier Howard's going to start to fall off? Because these cornerbacks, they're great for several years, and they kind of fall off a cliff after that. So are we about to see that with Xavier Howard? I don't know. But I know Jalen Ramsey, who I think is 28. For people who say he didn't have a great year this past year, he was graded out as the 3rd best cornerback in the NFL. The year before that, the best cornerback in the NFL. They have him guaranteed for at least the next 2 years, and he's in the prime of his career right now. Super exciting. You got the defensive coordinator. You got other big-time talent on that defensive side. Bradley Chubb, Javon Holland back there as well. Brandon Jones will return from injury. Christian Wilkins up front. Are they going to try and spend some money on linebacker? That's what we're talking about now, right? Over these next couple days, they got money to spend. Could it be linebacker? I know a lot of Dolphin fans want Bobby Wagner. All right, sounds good. All-pro guy. Or do you spend the money on linebacker, or do you spend the money on the offensive line? Because it's not just about protecting your quarterback so he could play well. It's about protecting your quarterback, so he can play. That's what it boils down to. I know there are Derrick Henry rumors out there. It would be a trade. You got other free agent running backs too, guys like Miles Sanders. I would run it back with Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson. I think they're both free agents. I would re-sign both those guys. I thought they were very good. I think you had a nice little balance there between Mostert and Wilson. They know the coach really well from their days in San Francisco. I would run it back with both Mostert and Wilson, but the window for this Dolphin team is to win right now. Now, it's really exciting. Their defense, you would think, is going to be awesome. Oh, I didn't even mention Jalen Phillips. It's really exciting. So anyway, I'm in the car this morning, actually, and I was listening to Mad Dog Sports Radio. Love that channel, Sirius XM, of course. And I'm listening to a little bit of Adam Shine, all right? Shine on Sports. And he's very good. And the big watch right now, and again, by the time you're listening to this, it may have already happened. But the big watch right now is Aaron Rodgers, right? And I had a poll question last week where, as a Dolphin fan, do you care if the Jets get Aaron Rodgers? And the answers were yes, fuck them, or no, fuck them. And I put no, fuck them. Because I don't care if the Jets get Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't matter. If anything, I'm going to enjoy playing the Jets and beating them twice a year even more because the Jet fan is so excited when we all know the way it's going to end. It's a wretched franchise. It's not going to work out for them. Aaron Rodgers, you don't even know if he wants to play, doing his douchebag darkness retreats. You're telling me Aaron Rodgers doesn't know what he wants to do yet? The best case scenario is all this talk. You know he's not going to be back with the Packers. They essentially have made that clear over the last few days when the president of the team spoke to the media. He is not coming back to the Packers. They have moved on. They are done with him. He's probably done with them too, but they are done with him. The best thing would be if Aaron... Now, I don't think it's going to happen. The best thing would be if Aaron Rodgers decided the choice is the Jets or retire, and he retires. That's the best case scenario. He'd rather retire than play for the Jets. That would be so good. I don't think it's going to happen. I told you one of the main reasons I don't think that's going to happen is because then he would have to share the stage in 5 years from now at the Hall of Fame with Tom Brady. Can't retire the same year as Brady. Aaron Rodgers is not going to want to share that stage with him because Brady will get all the shine, deservedly so. Rodgers is playing for another year, if only because he doesn't want to go in same class as Aaron Rodgers. But I hope Aaron Rodgers goes. I hope he retires because that'd be the funniest thing for the Jets fan. But otherwise, I hope he goes to the Jets. Back to Adam Schein. So I was listening to Adam Schein this morning, and he was saying how if the Jets get Aaron Rodgers, they come to an agreement today. How does Rodgers not know? What was he thinking about during that douchebag darkness retreat? How does he not know what he wants to do? I hope he goes to the Jets. I want to see him twice a year. I want the Dolphins to essentially retire him. They'll beat him so badly these two games, the Jets will stink, and he will retire at the end of the year. I hope he goes to the Jets. Retiring would be funny, but I hope he goes to the Jets. So anyway, I'm listening to Adam Schein. Again, I'm going to try this again to get to the point that I'm trying to get to. And he was saying how if Aaron Rodgers signs with the Jets today, that's going to put a damper on the Dolphins. Like the Dolphins fan is super excited right now, and this is going to put a damper on all that excitement because now you got to play Rodgers twice a year. I don't feel that way at all. The Jets sign Aaron Rodgers. I think it's going to be fun. It certainly, to me, does not take any of the shine away from what the Dolphins have done. The Dolphins have Xavier Howard, who you still expect to be a pretty good quarterback. I think he was playing hurt quite a bit this past year. He wasn't that good, but I would expect a bounce back. And then you also got Jalen Ramsey there. I feel really good about the Dolphins secondary. Let's not pretend like Aaron Rodgers was very good last year. He was not very good last year. And eventually when Aaron Rodgers goes out, he's probably going to go out looking pretty bad. I think a Dolphin defense is going to beat him up. Aaron Rodgers, if he agrees with the Jets, that doesn't put a damper on what the Dolphins did this weekend to me at all. I mean, do you care about that? You can hit me up at ZASLOW Show, of course, on Twitter, at ZASLOWJ on Instagram, where everybody knows I'm an influencer, of course. So, again, by the time you're listening to this, you may already know. Let him sign with the Jets. Bring it on. I'm told there's no scenario where I'm going to be afraid of the New York Jets. Also, over the weekend, huge trade. The Bears, they were man of their word. The Bears traded that number 1 pick to Carolina. They swapped to number 9. They get a first-round pick next year. They get another second-round pick, and they got DJ Moore. This was a really good trade for the Bears. And look, it becomes a good trade for Carolina if the quarterback they take at number 1 ends up being awesome. Then it's a great trade for Carolina too. But I think this is a really good trade for the Bears. I think they did a good job. I would give Justin Fields a chance putting some proper help around him. They just gave him DJ Moore now. You're going to have another first-round pick. You got an additional one next year. You got the second-round pick. I would stick with Justin Fields. Now, you got to ask yourself, if you're the Bears, you got to find out, is Justin Fields a quarterback who could run? Or is he a runner who could throw? You don't want a runner who could throw. Did a lot of running last year. You want a quarterback who could run. They're going to find that out this year. So, I really like the trade for the Bears. It's not the steal that Chris Greer came up with over the weekend. Jalen Ramsey for a third, and Hunter Long, who had like 2 catches in his Dolphins career. Phenomenal. I think the Rams gave up a number 1 for him 2 years ago. So a 3rd-round pick and Hunter Long, who cares, for Jalen Ramsey. Absolute steal. And now one of the areas, likely in free agency, Dolphins are going to have to pick up a tight end because you know they're letting Gesicki walk. So that's certainly something to keep an eye on over these next couple of days. All right. We're going to talk to Boog Shambi coming up. Canes fans out there. ZASLOW, got to talk about the Canes. Come on, what's going on with the Canes? Yes, Canes, number 5 seed. They're taking on Drake Friday night, 7:45, I think it is. We'll get to that coming up. On Friday night, I was at the Heat game and got there a little bit early. Wanted to hide. You know, it was my crowd there, hide, club. And I walk in there and I'm getting a drink and Buddy he was sitting at the bar, standing at the bar with his friend, and he had the Canes game on his iPhone. I was like, oh, nice. You know, so I watched the Canes for a minute while I'm ordering my drink. And although very difficult to get a drink if you're not a blonde with big tits. I mean, I looked right at the guy and said hello, and like he looked away. Anyway, so eventually I got my drink. And I said to the guy saying, hey, I'm a huge fan. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Which, by the way, but he's like, I'm listening to ZASLOW Show 2.0 every day. I love it so much. But like, I ran into another guy at the Heat game later on that night. And I ran into a guy at my cousin's son's birthday party on Saturday afternoon who is also a huge fan, but had no idea I was doing ZASLOW Show 2.0. And that's why I tell you guys, tell your friends, tell your family about the show, because I feel like on social media a lot of times, and this is one of those times, we live in a bit of a vacuum where we think everybody knows all the things that we know and all the things that we're commenting about and all the things that we're tweeting about, and it could be a little bit of an echo chamber. I really think like 90% of my audience, as many of you are listening to the show right now, we're off to a great start. I feel like 90% of my previous audience still does not know where I am. So tell your friends, tell your family. He said, because I said, are you still listening to the show? He had no idea about the podcast. He's a huge fan, and he had no idea about the podcast. You'd be surprised how many people still don't know. I've been doing this for 4 months now, I think it is. So the show's only going to continue to grow. That's the good part. That's the good part. But anyway, so I said to the guy, and he had the kid, I was like, oh, nice. Thank you so much for listening. He loves ZASLOW Show 2.0, like a long time. And I was like, oh, I'm glad you got the game on you. Catch this for a couple minutes while I wait for the drink, you know, because the guy's going to take forever because I'm not a blonde with big tits. And he told me, he goes, North Shadow Mirror got her. I was like, what? So last I saw, like I said, I think he was not in a boot and he seems to be walking okay. So hopefully he's going to be good to go for this weekend. The Canes lose there, so they end up being a 5 seed. They don't get to play in Orlando. Like, that's what I was waiting for yesterday. They're a 5. Where are they playing? It's Albany. It's not Orlando. I was going to get in the car Thursday with my son. We were going to drive and go to the game. That'd have been so much fun. I know some Canes fans are upset that Duke is also a 5 seed, and they get to be in Orlando. And it's like, yeah, you don't get to, like, why are they also a 5 seed? And why do they get to be in Orlando and not the Canes? And they're also a 5 seed. Orlando's not in North Carolina. Orlando's in Florida, and it's a really close drive for us here. And a 5 seed that also didn't even make the conference final. Now, a major reason is because Omer got hurt. But once Omer got hurt and you lost in the semifinals, you only won 1 game in the conference tournament, they weren't going to put the Canes in Orlando. You got to be like a 2 or obviously 1 seed, but you got to be like a 2 or maybe a 3 seed for them to give you a location so close to home. You're a 5 seed, they're not giving you the location so close to home. They're not going to do that. So I know some Canes fans are upset about that. That's the way it goes, man. Like I don't have an issue with it at all. And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and tell you like I'm some kind of expert about the tournament and about college basketball this year. I don't watch college basketball the way that I used to. Now I'm going to be dialed in on the tournament. I'm watching every game. Love it so much. But it's always fun where today you get the people complaining about the seeds, about this team that got in, about this team that was left out. 90% of them are big phonies. They have no idea what they're talking about. They did not watch any college basketball. What we do watch a lot, though, of course, is the NBA. Let's get to our weekend NBA recap. And, of course, every Monday, it's brought to us by the best insurance agency around. You know we're talking about Brunt Financial Insurance, Brunt Insurance and Financial Services. Brunt Insurance and Financial Services. I've been using Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance for about 10 years from now. They help protect my home. Any kind of disasters, I can go to sleep at night knowing, God forbid something happens, I don't have to come out of pocket. That's why I have insurance. Now, you don't want to just go online and type in homeowners insurance. No. The market is confusing, all right? Let Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance and Financial Services, they're going to sort it all out for you. Because from Pensacola to the Keys and beyond, Brunt Insurance and Financial Services, they deliver that comprehensive insurance and financial solutions tailored to your needs. They specialize in home, auto, life insurance. Hey, not just your home. If you're looking for affordable care that covers your motorcycle, your boat, maybe condo insurance, renter's insurance. There are so many options out there. Let Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance, they specialize in making the confusing crystal clear. BruntInsurance.com, 954-589-2204. Again, 954-589-2204, BruntInsurance.com. Let's get to our weekend NBA rundown. You know how this goes. A lot happens in the association, especially this time of year. Playoffs are right around the corner. That means the players are starting to try. So the games are better. It's an amazing concept. On Friday night, the big news came out of Philadelphia. The Sixers, they're trying to keep pace there in the top three. The Sixers were down by 1 in the closing seconds.
Maxey gets knocked to the floor, no whistle. In it comes to Joel. Nurkic on him, 5 seconds to go.
There you go.
Embiid driving, spinning, fading, hitting! 1.1 to go! Absolutely unstoppable.
So Joel Embiid there right before the buzzer. The Sixers, they would hang on and win 120-119 over Portland. Also on Friday night, you had Brooklyn. Brooklyn was in Minnesota, who might be the most disappointing team in the league. That team stinks. They're 500 now. But this Brooklyn Nets team, they're not going anywhere.
Dinwiddie driving. The kick out. Finney Smith hits a big tray.
Yeah, I'm looking at Dorian Finney-Smith there. Huge shot. I'm looking like I'm going to be wrong about the Nets. They're not going anywhere. Right now, they're the 5th seed. They're even ahead. They're percentage points ahead of the New York Knicks right now. We'll get back to that in a second. But those were some of the things that stood out on Friday night. On Saturday, you had Boston beat Atlanta 134-125. This was highlighted by a bit of a skirmish between Marcus Smart and Trae Young. Marcus Smart taking exception to Trae Young. He thought maybe he elbowed him. I don't think Trae Young was doing that on purpose. I think they were probably bickering, and chatting the entire game. Things boiled over a little bit. You had them, they kind of tackled each other. Boston, they end up getting the win, 134-125. That's good for the Heat because the Heat are trying to stave off Atlanta, who is right behind them as far as the 7-8 play-in spots go. Memphis beat Dallas on Saturday night, 112-108. No Luka Doncic. He's out again tonight. No Kyrie Irving. He's sore. And Kyrie Irving is still sore tonight. He's questionable. This is the way it goes with Kyrie. Like, honeymoon's over. Kyrie released that video last week complaining about people blaming him for being a cancer because he sees the writing on the wall. The team stinks since they acquired him. I think they're 4-7 since they've acquired him. They're a 500 team. They might miss the playoffs altogether. Everyone's going to blame Kyrie, especially now with Doncic out. If Kyrie plays, which he bailed on Saturday, he'll probably bail tonight. They're going to keep losing. But if he were to play, they're going to blame Kyrie for not being worth it, and then he's not going to get his money because it's only about the money with Kyrie Irving. Biggest phony, biggest hypocrite in all of pro sports. The Golden State Warriors in overtime, they beat Milwaukee 125-116, but Steph Curry had the ball down by 3 late in regulation.
With a back screen by Thompson on Green.
Curry, a three-pointer. Bang! Steph Curry from downtown again! And we're tied with 15 seconds remaining.
Good win for the Warriors, of course, at home. They never win on the road. But the Warriors, they wind up winning by 9 there over Milwaukee. Golden State right now is 6th. They are just a game up on number 7 Minnesota as far as staying out of the play-in goes. And then yesterday, you had Brooklyn leading Denver in Denver. Brooklyn leading Denver 122-120. Final play of the game.
Nuggets down 2. Trying to get to Jokic. Jokic turn, fire for the win. No good. And that's it.
So Brooklyn holds on, 2-point win. Jokic misses at the buzzer there. The Nuggets have lost 3 in a row, but even while the Kings have won 3 in a row, the Nuggets still have a 5-game lead over Sacramento. No one's going to catch them. Over on the other side there, Brooklyn, they're now 10 games over 500 at 39-29. They are the 5 seed. They're percentage points ahead of New York. I thought that Brooklyn was going to drop. It doesn't look like it's happening. I don't think they're very good, but it doesn't look like they're going anywhere. The Heat are not going to catch them. I don't think they're not going to catch New York either. Speaking of New York, last night, late game on ESPN, the Knicks were in Los Angeles. The Knicks, they hang on to win 112-108. Here's Anthony Davis after the game, shouldering the blame.
I played terrible. Couldn't find the shot. Free throws, layups, everything. The guys did their job. I didn't do my job tonight.
We've heard you in the past take the onus on games. Why this one? What did you see that you thought you could have done better to help the team?
Everything. They had a good presence defensively. Offensively, I wasn't there. Like I said, free throws, layups, the handle, shots, so everything offensively. I say guys played well tonight. Did their job. Dennis, D'Lo, Boston, Wayne, really all these guys did more than enough to help win the game.
Yeah, the Lakers have been red hot. They lose last night. A win last night would have gotten them to 500. They would have jumped to 7th. Instead, they're on the outside looking in now, sitting at number 11. And of course, LeBron James, we're not quite sure yet when he's going to return. The Knicks, with that win yesterday, they are 40-30 now on the season. They are 6th overall in the Eastern Conference. They are 3 games up on Miami in the loss column. The Heat are not going to be able to catch either one of them. The Heat, of course, the Heat win on Friday night. Good win against Cleveland. Saturday in Orlando, they lose by 12 in overtime, which is always embarrassing when you go to overtime, but you lose by double figures. Jimmy Butler, frustrated over fouls, non-calls, walks off the court with seconds remaining in overtime. Technical foul because that referee was behaving like a douchebag apparently all night long. Coach Spoelstra had a thing or two to say about that after the game. He warned the league not to fine him. He doesn't like when the league fines him, so he told the league, you will not fine me. But they get a technical foul at the very end there, and there you go. So the Heat hate that official. We don't like him. I'm not even going to speak his name. Jimmy Butler, super frustrated. It's part of what you love about him. He had Cody Zeller, who broke his nose, which it's not a good thing he broke his nose, but the Heat fan wants to see Omer Yurtseven. So now you're going to see him. He's going to play tonight. The Heat are hosting hosting Utah tonight. And this game's important for the Jazz because the Jazz sitting in 9th right now. They're 2 back of number 6. They're even in the loss column of teams on the outside looking in. I mean, one loss if you're Utah, you could drop from 9th all the way to 12th. So these games are important for the Jazz. Obviously super important for the Heat. Kyle Lowry, this freaking guy. Kyle Lowry returned on Saturday night. He was not a starter. He should never be a starter again. But you see, that stuff doesn't matter. Played 36 minutes on Saturday night. He's questionable now tonight. Do with that information what you want. But coming off the bench is obviously the right move. I just don't like that he's playing 36 minutes. I feel like, hey, you want to give him a little bit of time? Give him 12, max 15 minutes. But there you have it. So the Heat lose a frustrating game Saturday night on a night that everybody lost. Inter Miami lost on an own goal. The Heat lose, of course, in overtime. The Panthers lost in overtime to Winnipeg there, but they got a badly needed points anyway out of it. So that right there is our NBA weekend recap, which is always brought to us by Brunt Insurance. Make sure you get your home covered. Auto insurance, boat insurance as well. I've been having my home covered with Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance, like I said, for almost 10 years now. So if it's good enough for me, I'm definitely going to pass it on to you, ZASLOW Show 2.0 listener, at Brunt Insurance on social media, bruntinsurance.com. You get Greg on the phone right away if you want. You call 954-589-2204. That's 954-589-2204.